All right, today what I will discuss is all about dividend policy. All right. Sir, bakit po dividend policy as part of financial management? Yes, it is also part of financial management, meaning the reason why we are going to pay, all right, for the dividend. Yun yung reason, no? Kung bakit. Hindi siya dahil, di ba, in your FAR, na as you notice in your FAR, is you discuss about it, no? Tama ba? Kayo ba ay ano na kayo? FAR 1 or intermediate accounting 1 ang tawag? Or sa amin ang tawag sa amin ng financial accounting 1. Tapos na ba kayo? Malamang yes na ano. Hindi pa. Yung mga BSA dito, are you done with your FAR? Not
Yes,
yet.
sir.
All right, yes. So we discussed ba about dividend? Yes, thank you. Apps pala name mo. The April. Sige. Okay. Yan. So in our discussions of FAR, okay, or intact 1 is basically computations, more computations. All right. In the financial management naman is bakit kailangan pa magbigay ng dividend? Yun yung reason, no? Because of the cash involved. All right. So meaning, as discussed in your FAR, di ba? Dividends is basically a corporate earnings distributed to stockholders, di ba? Para siyang profit or loss, no? Pero maliit lang naman to, no? Maliit lang ang ating dividend. Alright. Meron pala ako ditong so we have your dividend, okay? All right. So meaning paid out of dividends, no, paid of our earnings distributed to stockholders. That's basically your dividend. All right. So basically, no, all right. So meaning paid out of earnings is known as dividend. So it is only if your company is a corporation. Pero pag hindi corporation, walang dividends, ha? All right. So in terms of our paid out, no? Either siya cash, okay? Either cash or it is stocks. All right. And they are issued quarterly. Yes, they are issued quarterly, okay? In terms of our dividends. By the way pala, no, I will give you pala isang remind me who no, maybe on Wednesday. Sige, on Wednesday you will prepare your group work. No, I will give parang group case analysis, no. All right. Gagawin niyo lang diyan is you will record yourself and then you will answer the what do you call that? The case analysis na to be submitted on October 14. Okay lang ba? So para you have almost 3 weeks pa to prepare. Don't worry, group naman siya.
Sir,
Okay?
yung
Yes?
group recording as in parang yung sentence type na pagsagot po na recording. Tapos lahat po kailangan magsalita.
Yes, lahat. And then ginawa ng iba kong estudyante ay PowerPoint presentation, nag-Zoom sila, Zoom recording, ganun lang. Okay? And then you will answer now as part of the case analysis. Okay? So, yun. Pwede I can give you example. Ito ay ginawa sa Lasal. Sige, pakita ko sa inyo. Kasi kanina lang ako nag-grade sa kanila. So, ito gagawin niya, ha? Download. Ayan, puro midterm to, no? Ayan, kasi kanina lang ako parang ganito lang siya. Okay. So, ano pinakamaganda dito? Pinakamaganda dito presentation. Isa na. Parang ganito lang. Okay? Narinig niyo ba? Narinig niyo? Yes?
Hindi po.
sir.
Hindi
po.
Wala po atong audience.
About this one?
Wala pa rin po.
Wala pa
Yeah,
rin, sir.
narinig ba?
Wala pa rin, sir.
No sound?
Wala pa po.
Wala. Kaya wala.
Sir, sa Zoom audio po, i-share niyo po yung audio.
Walang sound, no?
Wala po, sir.
Ano kaya ito mag-share ng sound? Marunong ba kaya? Lipat lang po sa device mode, di po stable net. Okay. Alright, sige. Parang ganito lang, no? Ganito lang yung ating... So, I will send you this one. Pero kailangan confidential kasi ito eh, no? Alright. Parang ganun. So, ito yung gagawin niya. So, yun. So, just
Sir,
record yourself.
question lang.
Yes?
May nagpapatanong if ilang members daw per group.
Sila mga 4 to 5 or 3 to 4.
Ganun na lang din po. Okay, sir. Thank you.
Mga 3 to 4. So, ganun. So, yun yung gagawin nyo in terms of our discussion. So, I will send you this siguro mga 1 or 2 times. Okay? Para bilis tayo. So, maybe on Wednesday para you have your asynchronous. You can do that. Right? Alright. Saan na ba tayo? Sorry. Alright. Again, dividends can be paid out of cash or stocks. No? They may be paid out in terms of the retained earnings or part also of the capital stocks. Yes. Okay. Take note of the last. No? In general, the more stable the company is, the more regular the issuance of dividends. Yes. No? Pero in terms of the amount, okay? In terms of the amount of shares, depende. All right. In terms of the amount, it depends. No? All right. So in terms of this one, no, very important is the considerations of our dividend policy. Number one, it bears upon our investors' attitudes, diba? The reason that you have dividend policy because it bears upon investors' attitude. No? Number two, it will impact our financing program at the same time our capital budget of the firm. Take note, class, diba? Common sense lang. Ano nga yung capital budgeting as discussed in our last time? It involves large amount of money. Tama ba? Kung meron tayong capital budgeting, sigurado, pwedeng hindi magbigay ng dividend, diba? And also about financing program. All right, so it will impact also the financing program. Okay? And number three, it will affect also the firm's cash flow position. Yun nga, no? If you have no money, common sense, wala kang babayad ng dividends. Diba, class? Diba? Alright. Diba, Carl, no? Okay. Renzi. Alright. Number four, it lowers your retained earnings since it will be deducted in our retained earnings. Tama ba? And so, it will result in a high debt to equity. Diba? If you have high debt to equity, ano mangyayari? Meaning, ang dami mong utang sa equity mo, you are risky or you have more risk that you cannot be able to pay for your obligations. You get the point ba, class? Thumbs up if yes. Alright. Yes. How about the others? Alright. Sige. Naintindihan, ha? Alright. Thank you. Alright. So in terms of this one, also very important is that if the company's cash flows and investment requirements are volatile, okay, the company should not establish a regular high dividend. Alam nyo ba, I have San Miguel stocks, no, for the past 13 years na, and still San Miguel pays 0.35 per share. Napakababa, no? Yes, no? San Miguel na yan, ha? So meaning, hindi ibig sabihin na progressive na yung company mo that you will pay high regular dividend. It would be better to establish a low regular dividend that can be met even in the years of poor earnings, diba? Lalo ngayon, because of the pandemic, apektado ang benta ng San Miguel, diba? But because of that, diba, still, you will pay 0.35. Maganda man or pangit ang ating negosyo, still you have or you are paid about 0.35%. Okay? So what are the relevant dates associated with the dividends are as follows. So you have your declaration date. All right. Very important is the date of declarations. Date on which the board of directors declares the dividend And on this date, the payment of the dividend becomes a legal liability of the firm. Take note ha, in terms of the declaration date, it will start na or it will become legal liability of the firm. No? Sabihin natin, on this September 27, I will declare dividend as of the date of record yon. As of, let's say, September 30, that you will be receiving a dividend on, let's say, October 20. Alright. Why October 20? Kasi yan yung birthday ko. Wala lang, joke lang. Yes, birthday ko October 20. So, we will pay date, okay? Parang pampa-birthday, no? Tama ba, Marga? Pampa-birthday. Alright. So, I will pay payment of October 20. Kilala mo pala, Marga, si Job? Ba't mo kilala si Job? Si Job ba, ano din, taga-Beda rin? Marga? Mentor. Pero ano siya? Siya ay Bedan din? Hindi. Alam. Small world. Yes. Okay. Ano ko siya? Estudyante ko sa Ateneo. Alright, sa MBA. Nung last term pa. Alright. Small world, no? Alright. Yan. So, siya ay nag-MBA sa Ateneo, Marta. Okay? So, yun. I think active din siya sa school organization, no? Parang auditor or secretary sa AGSB. Ateneo School of Business, ano siya? Officer din. Okay? Yes. So, yun. So, introductions also as part of the dividends. Now, dividends are usually paid in cash. Alright. So, di ba, typically, no, you have your preference shares and you have also your common shares. Ano nga yung sinabi sa inyo about preference shares? You are entitled for fixed payment. Di ba? Fixed payment. Alright. So, for example, November 15, 2015, a cash dividend of 1.50 per share was declared on 10,000 shares of 10,000 par value. Napakadali nito, no? Dapat alam niyo na to, no? Sa FAR ito, di ba? If you have preference shares, you're only entitled for fixed, di ba? 10,000 times 1.50, yun na. 15,000 is your dividend. Alright. Okay. What if walang percentage? Kanina walang percentage. Ito naman, you have percentage. So, napakadali, no? 20,000 times 10 times 12%, you have 24,000. Maning-mani na to sa inyo. No? Di ba? Naalala mo ba sa FAR? Di ba? Meron pa tayong tinatawag na cumulative preference shares, non-cumulative preference shares. You have your participating preference shares, non-participating preference shares. Naalala pa ba yan? Ano pagkakaiba ng cumulative sa non-cumulative? Glenn, Francino. Okay, review tayo ha. Yan ay sa FAR. What is the difference between cumulative and non-cumulative?
Sir, yung cumulative, nag-accumulate siya every year if hindi po nag-declare ng dividends.
Very good. Very good. Very good. Nag-accumulate, no? Kahit yan 1920s pa or 1930s pa and you are a preference shares cumulative, you are still entitled for dividends. Diba? Pero if it is a non-cumulative, okay, whether declared or not, you are not entitled, diba? Because you're only entitled for last year lang. Wala nang iba. Alright. Participating, of course, you'll participate pa in the sharing of dividends. And non-participating is hindi ka nakasama. Okay? Ganun lang. Okay? Napakadali. Alright. Yan. Also, as part of the financial management, some companies allow stockholders to automatically reinvest their dividend on the corporate shares instead of receiving cash. Ako din, mas magandang ganito, no? Na, sige, do not give me cash, no? Yung cash ko na lang, ilagay mo na lang sa stocks. Pwede naman yan. Why? The advantage of this one, if you are the stockholder, is you will not pay for any brokerage fee. Alright. You will not pay for the brokerage fee. Sino ba sa inyo ang may stocks talaga? Hindi virtual, ha? Actual. Wala. Thumbs up if yes. Sino meron? Wala. Alam niyo class, wag niyo na yang ilagay sa bangko. Ilagay niyo yan sa meron si ano. Si sorry, wala kasing name sa ano, picture mo. Alright. Mayroon si Nika ba? Ba, hindi. Samantha. Okay. Samantha meron. Alright. 'Di ba, ikaw ay nagbabayad ng brokerage fee? Tama ba, Samantha? Lalo na pag video securities, no? Anong tawag doon? Underwriting cost, flotation cost, as discussed in our cost of capital. Tama ba, Samantha? Nagbabayad ka ba ng brokerage fee? 'Di ba? Pambawas pa yan, no? Yes. Alright. So, yun. Kung nagbabayad ka niyan, dito wala ka nang babayaran. No? If you're cashed out, automatically to be reinvested as tax. However, there is no tax advantage. You will still pay for your tax. At least wala ka ng brokerage fee. Okay? Alright. Dividend policy, as part of the financial management, our goal here is to maximize the owner's wealth. Yan lang naman. Okay, common sense. Bakit may dividends? Malamang may net income. Tama ba? Malamang maganda ang ating market price, mataas. Malamang we minimize our costs. So that's why we will give dividend to our stockholders. Para lahat naman masaya. Diba? Kayo ba ay nag-tax na? Alam nyo ba yung improperly accumulated earnings tax? Hindi pa kayo nag-tax, di ba? Tama ba?
Ongoing pa lang po sa
Ongoing pa lang. Okay. Very important is the improperly accumulated earnings tax. Meaning, dapat daw, if you will pay for dividend, you have your tax. If you improperly accumulated that in terms of your earnings, you are liable with a 10% IEE. So, bahala na yung inyong tax niya na. Okay? Alright. So what do you mean of maximizations of owner's wealth? Okay. When a company earnings increase, management, yun yung sinasabi ko kanina. That kahit maganda ang ating negosyo, hindi ibig sabihin that we will increase also our dividend. It does not automatically raise or increase our dividend. Diba? Sabi ko nga sa inyo, 12 years na ako may San Miguel. Until now, 0.35 pa yung per share ng dividend. Napakababa, di ba? Okay. Generally, there's a time lag between increased earnings and the payment of a higher dividend. Yes, there's a time lag between the increase in the earnings and the payment of the high dividend. Only when the management is confident that the increased earnings will sustain, will they increase the dividend. Yes, kung kailangan natin mag-increase, sige, we can have naman that one. Okay? We will increase naman our dividend. Alright. Once dividends are increased, they should continue to be paid at the higher rate. Yan nga, no? Pag tumaas tayo ng ating dividend, yan na ang ating dividend per share. Okay? Alright. So, what are the different kinds of dividend policy? Stable dividend per share, meaning kahit may pandemic, no, you will still pay for dividends. San Miguel, yes. Yung ibang hindi nagbibigay ng dividend. No? San Miguel talaga lagi, no? Quarterly siya. And also, yan, constant dividend payout, yun nga, constant siya. 0.35 yung pa rin yung binabayaran natin. Compromise, lalo na ngayon, because of the pandemic, okay, pwede bang wag muna tayo magbayad ng dividend kasi pandemic naman. Pwede naman yan as a compromise. Okay? Residual dividend policy, so after that, so you will have a dividend as a residual. Okay? All right. What else? So theoretically, no, a company should retain earnings rather than distribute them when the corporate return exceeds the return investors can obtain on the money elsewhere. All right. Take note of this class. If you have your net income of 1 million, hindi pwedeng 100% is to be distributed as our dividend. Sabihin 80% rule or 80-20 rule or Pareto rule. 80% is part of our Ano nga yung two kinds of our retained earnings? Rob? Ano nga yung ating two kinds of retained earnings? If you remember pa, sa FAR to, di ba? Wala, hindi na maalala.
Hello, sir. Ano
Appropriated
po?
po,
Alright.
tsaka
Appropriated
unappropriated.
and
Very
unappropriated.
good.
po.
Appropriated retained earnings and unappropriated retained earnings. So, kung ako yung CEO, 80% should be retained, while 20% is for unappropriated, meaning to be distributed as dividend. Huwag yung ubos biyaya. Di ba? May ganun Ang daming ganun. Okay. Further, if the company obtain a return on its profit that will exceed the cost of capital, market price, yes. Yes, very common sense, di ba? Mas malaki yung interest mo with the cost of capital. It will maximize your market price. Yan. Take note of this class. Ikaw, Samantha, bakit ka ba mayroong stocks? Dahil ba sa dividends? Samantha? Or because of number 3? The reason why I have my stocks because of this number 3, not the dividends. Capital gains arising from the appreciations or the increase in the market price of the stocks. Tama ba? The reason why I invest in Jollibee, in San Miguel, in Metrobank, ano ba yung ano ko? Pure Gold, Wilcon, because gusto ko tumaas ang aking market price of stocks. Tama ba? That is basically, no? That is basically, hindi naman talaga dividend, di ba, Samantha? Napakalit na naman ng dividends. Kasi nga, 100 lang, 200. No? Alam nyo ba, class, because of this, I purchased a lot of stocks during the pandemic. Alam mo ba ngayon, tumutuban ako ng 10,000. 10,000. No? Yan. So, ganun, kaganda ang stocks ngayon. No? Pero, kaya lang risky pa din. No? Okay? On the other hand, company should not theoretically keep funds for investment if it will earn less. Of course, common sense. Hindi ka naman maging negosyo pag maliit yung returns mo. Diba? Alright. So what else? If the owner have better opportunities outside the firm, company should pay high dividend. Yes, pwede naman. So it will discretion siya on the part of the management. Although theoretical considerations from a financial point of view should be considered when setting up dividend policy. Yes. Okay. What would be the factors that will influence our dividend policy? Of course, company's growth rate, 'di ba? All right. Ano ba yung company's growth rate? Yan ba yung G? 'Di ba? In our discussion sa ating cost of capital, 'di ba? Pag sinabi kasing company's growth rate, so meaning tumataas ang ating growth, 'di ba? Dapat kasama yung ating growth sa pagbigay ng ating dividend. Restrictive covenants, yun nga, you have the appropriated and unappropriated earnings, meaning depende yan kung ilan yung ating ibibigay na stocks. And yes, na dividends. Profitability, common sense. Magbibigay ako ng dividend kasi profitable kami, or I have profit. Stability and terms of earnings, yes. Maintenance of control, degree of financial leverage, meaning, di ba? In your account, in your FinMan 1, di ba? We discuss about financial leverage, no? Ay, sorry. Ability to finance externally, yes, no? Uncertainty because of this pandemic, di ba? Magbabayad ba tayo ng ating tinatawag na dividends? Alright, o wag na muna kasi compromise muna tayo. Okay? Age and size of the firm, okay? Tax penalties. So ito yung sinasabi ko sa inyo about number 10. So hopefully if kayo ay napunta na sa tax, pag naalala nyo ako, improperly accumulated earnings tax. Okay? Ano to? 10% to. 10% tax. Okay? Alright. Next. Oh, ulit lang. Ulit lang ha. Alright. We have also here stock dividends. Alright. What do you mean of stock dividends? Issuance of additional shares to stockholders. Yes. So you will issue shares of stocks to stockholders. Stock dividend may be declared when cash position of the firm is inadequate. Ikaw ba, Samantha, anong gusto mo? Stock dividend or cash dividend? Ako gusto ko stock dividend. Diba? Alright. Kasi tataas pa ang aking shares. Pero not the ownership. Diba? Yung pala, the reason why the company is giving stock dividend, ano pa na experience. Okay. Kasi pala, walang pera yung company. Alright. Diba? Ano ba sinabi niyo sa FAR? When the stock dividends, retained earnings will decrease, but common stock will increase, but no effect in our, diba, equity. Kasi nga, ilipat mo naman yung retained earnings sa stocks. Okay? Yan. Yeah, there's no change in terms of your stockholders. So stock dividends increase the shares held. Take note, yes, stock dividends will increase our shares held, but the proportion of the company shareholders own remains the same. So meaning, if you have 12% ownership, still, you have 12% ownership. Kahit tumaas yung ating stocks. Ito yung example niya. Yan, for example, in other words, if the stockholders has 2% ownership before stock dividend, he or she will continue to have 2%. Alright, ito yung example natin. Okay? Sorry. Ito yung example. Halimbawa, si Mr. James owns 20,000 shares of Newland Corporation. There are 10,000 shares outstanding. Therefore, Mr. James hold 2%. Alright, so 200 divide 10,000. 2% siya. Alright, let's say you have stock dividends. Of course, yung 10,000 magiging 11, yung 200 mo magiging 220. 220 divided by 11, still you have 2%. So meaning, still you have a 2%. Alright, so meaning, still you have a 2%. So meaning, hindi magbabawas or hindi walang dagdag sa ating stocks. Stock dividend. Ito on ko lang yung ating ilaw. Medyo madilim na dito sa amin. Alright, how about stock split? Alright. So stock split involves an additional or issuing a substantial amount of additional shares and reducing the par value of the stocks on a proportional basis. Alright, diba? So meaning, ang ating mangyayari dito ay tataas ang ating stocks, shares, and bababa ang ating par value. Alright. Ano ba sinabi sa inyo kung bakit may ganito? Alright. So stock split is often prompted by desire to reduce the market price per share. We should make the small investors to purchase. So the reason why, kasi bababaan natin ang par value. Alright. Pag pinabaan yung par value, mababa din ang ating market price. Para daw, it will make easier for small investors to purchase shares. Yan yung reason. Alright. For example, Smith Corporation has 1,000 shares of 20 pesos par value, and you have a value total of 20,000. If you have 4-to-1 split, first 1,000 here to be multiplied by 4, you have now 4,000. How about the par value? 20 divide 4, you have 5. So meaning 4,000 shares and 5. Magkano yung dati? 1,000 times 20, 20K. 4,000 times 5, still 20K. Walang change. Alright. Ang nangyari lang is, par value is now 5 versus par value of 20. Pwede na maka-afford ang ating mga small investors to purchase. You get the point ba? Thumbs up if yes. Yan yung reason ng stock split. Alright. Wala ito nakikinig Si Marga lang ata. Yun. Okay, thank you. Ngayon ba naintindihan na about or the reason about stock split? Or mas malinaw na ba today? Yan pala ang reason ng stock split. Or ito ay na-discuss naman sa inyo sa FAR. Sino ba ang FAR nyo? Sino bang intact? Si Albert Rivera ba? Hindi.
Pampaw po. Miss Fulencio.
Miss Fulencio po.
Ayan siya. Ito ba na-discuss sa inyo? Yung reason kung bakit? Hindi. Mas malinaw na siya. Okay. So hopefully. Alright. So after, yan, ito na yan. So after the split, of course, you have still 20,000. So, discussed na already. Alright. Yan. So ano pa kakaiba ng dalawa? The difference between the two is stock dividend and stock split are as follows. With a stock dividend, retained earnings are reduced. Of course, sa stock dividend, you will deduct retained earnings. And then, kaya lang, yan ay ibibigay natin sa capital. But in the stock split, there's no increase or decrease in our retained earnings. Diba? Okay, sige. Okay, Juan. This is pa sa Finman 1. Okay. Si Sir Chu. Tama ba? Alright. Sige. Number 2. The par value of the stock remains the same. Okay. Yan, Sir Chu, di ba? Tama ba? Chu? Chu? Ano bang pronunciation? Alright. So, the par value of the stock remains the same with the stock dividend but is proportionately reduced in a stock split. Diba? In the par value of the stock dividend, walang change. But in the stock split, may change tayo. Okay? Kaya lang, ano ang similarities ng dalawa? Cash is not paid. Okay? And shares outstanding is increased. Diba? Parehas sila, walang cash paid. And also number 3 is, stockholders will remain the same. Okay? Hopefully, naintindihan to ha. Alright. Yeah. Next, how about stock repurchase? Ito naman ay tinatawag nating treasury stocks. So, is the name given previously to issued stock that has been repurchased? Okay, but not retired. No? Okay. Buying treasury shares is alternative in paying dividends. Kasi nga, may shares of stocks sa Samantha, kukunin ng company, pabayaran ka lang naman. Kaya lang, wala ka ng stocks, di ba? Alright. Outstanding shares will be fewer after the stocks has been repurchased. Earnings per share will rise. Ito ang dahilan kung bakit may treasury stocks. Because the EPS will increase. Right? The EPS will increase. Right? All right. The increase in earnings per share may result also of increasing our market price. The reason pala kung bakit tayo may treasury shares as far as the Finman 2 is concerned, or because we should increase our EPS and also to increase our market share. If we increase our market share, maganda siya in terms of our company. Diba? Jollibee Corporation, no? From 62.50 to 300. Diba? Napakaganda yan. Because of this one. Ito yung alternative. Ito yung ginagawa ng iba. Totoo to ha? Okay. So, sorry. Last bullet. Increase in earnings per share may also result in the higher market price. Yes. Diba? Alright. Ito yung sample natin. Sample para makita niyo sinasabi ko sa inyo. Okay? Alright. Travis Company earned 2.5 million in 2015. Alright. Of this amount, it decided that 20% would be used to purchase treasury stocks. At present, there are 400 shares outstanding. Okay. Market price mo ay 18 pesos previously ha. The company can use 500,000, 20% times 2.5 to buy back the 25 shares. Tender offer of 20 pesos. So meaning, okay, ito yung current natin na EPS, di ba? 2.5 as net income divided by outstanding shares of 400, kanong EPS mo 6.25. Alright. After the treasury shares has been issued or has been reacquired, alright, magkano na yung, correct mo na. Current price earnings, the formula is market price divided by EPS, 18, given to ha, divided by 6.25, you have 2.88. Alright. Tingnan mo class, after ng treasury shares, what happened to our EPS? 6.25 to 6.67. Nag-increase ba? Yes. Alright. As far as Finman is concerned, maganda siya. Alright. Tingnan mo naman yung ating market price. So, with this formula, alam natin na ang PE ratio is 2.88. So, parang ganito lang yan. Chorus price earnings is market price, di ba? X to. Then, ang EPS natin ay 6 point, ito na. Ito na yung bago. 6.67. Ang ating price earnings ratio ay 2.88. Ito lang naman yan. No? Ito yung formula niya. Alright. Kaya naging siyang multiplied. No? Gets ba ako, class? Magkano na ang ating market price? 19.21. From 18 to 19.21, if you have treasury stocks pala, you will increase the market price. Yes. What else? The EPS from 6.25 to 6.67. Maganda to, class? Yes. Yan yung reason kung bakit may tinatawag na treasury shares. Okay. Alam mo Samantha, no? Pag may tender offer, pabayaan mo lang. Ang daming tender offer sa akin na nagsasabi. Ako hindi. Kaya class kung may tender offer, kung kaya may stocks, huwag yung ibenta. Sigurado tataas ang ating stocks. Ikaw ba Samantha, meron ka na bang tender offer na ngayon yung FGen, may tender offer, ayoko. Di ba? Alam ko tataas ang ating stocks kung may tender offer. Di ba? Kaya Samantha, kung may tender offer, no? Wag mo ibenta, no? Tataas yung stocks na yun. Okay. Wala pa na. Konti pa lang yung stocks mo. Okay. Halimbawa lang, no? Class, no? Kung kayo ay bibili ng stocks. Ano ka ba? Call financial ka? Or BDO Nomura? Or call financial. Call financial. Okay? Ako kasi ay BDO Securities ako. Anyway, yeah. So, advantages ng stocks repurchase is if there's excess cash flow from that is deemed temporary, management may prefer to repurchase stocks and then to pay higher dividend. Yes, no. If you have an excess cash flow, mas maganda pa, sige, bilhin ko na lang yung mga stocks mo, tataas pa ang ating market share, tataas pa ang aking EPS. Okay? Treasury stock can be used for future acquisitions. Ano yung Justin? Nag-merge. Pero ngayon, wala na Nomura Video Securities na lang. Dati Video Nomura yan. Nomura is a Japanese firm, no? As part of the broker, as brokerage. Alright. Treasury shares can be used. Di ba? Ano nga yung, natin? Yung treasury shares natin ay tataas yung market price. And nag-reacquired ka. So meaning, pag ikaw ay bumenta ng stocks at a higher price na. Tama ba? Kasi nga, sabi ko sa inyo, kung may tender offer, tataas yung ating price. Alright. If the management holding stocks, they would have favor a stock repurchase than dividend because of the favorable, yes, tax treatment also. Treasury stock can be resold if the market, if you want to have additional funds. Yes. Alright. Kaya lang, ano yung disadvantages? Market price of the stock may benefit more than the dividend than stock repurchase. Treasury stock may be bought excessively high. Yun nga, napakataas. Kasi nga, tataas ang ating market price. Okay? Tingnan mo to class Tingnan mo yung number. Should be number 2. So meaning, pwede mo palang ma-manipulate ang stocks, ang stock market. Yes. If investors feel the company is engaging in repurchase plan because the management does not have alternative good investment opportunities, drop in the market, no? Yun yung ginagawa mo, acquire ng market price ng stock ng treasury stock para tumaas yung EPS, tumaas yung market price. Wala kang ginagawa. Alright. Pag alaman yan ng investor, patay ka. Baka yan ay mag-withdraw. Number 2, the acquisition of stock make it appear that the company is manipulating. Alam niyo ba yung Enron? Enron, 'di ba? Yung 'di ba? Ganun ginawa nila. They manipulate the stocks, the stock market. Yes, Marga. Yan, pag nalaman 'yan, patay ka sa SEC, patay ka sa BIR. The company will have problems in terms of the SEC. And if the BIR concludes that the repurchase is designed to avoid the payment of tax dividends, yan, tax penalties may be imposed upon on the improperly accumulated earnings tax. Ito yung sinasabi ko kanina about improperly accumulated earnings tax is 10%. Okay? Alright. Oy, pa pala tayo. Alas 6. 1 hour lang tayo. Alright. Hindi ko ito bibigay. So, sige. Ano na lang. Please be ready na lang on Wednesday. So, maybe we can have a group work. Okay? Or sit work. That's basically, group project pala. No? Yan. So, yan yung ating gagawin. No? Yan yung ating gagawin in our last day. Okay? Any questions so far? Ano lang, 1 hour lang tayo para effective lang yung online. Okay? Wag tayo yung more on discussion. Unless you have question, you have plenty of time.
Sir, na curious lang po ako.
Okay, go.
Yung, alam niyo po yung sa ano po, sir, yung mga SME ngayon, ipa-publicly listed na daw sa mga stock. Mga small, medium enterprise.
For me okay lang. 'Di ba? Pag kailangan ng company ng parang ano lang 'yan, parang halimbawa si Margas, si Kent, si Rob, no? Ay nag-create ng company, 'di ba? So naubos yung pera nyo kasi nga of course dami ng project no? So pwede kayong mag-offer ng stocks in public as part of your investor. Yun nga lang, should work
Hindi po ba yun mas
overtime.
delikado, mas risky
Medyo
sa
delikado
kanila?
siya. Medyo delikado siya. Tama naman, Rob. Medyo delikado yun on their part. No? Kasi kailangan nila mag-exert double time. Okay? Kasi kung ako investor, magreklamo kita, di ba? Bakit hindi kumikita yung aking stocks? Bakit wala akong dividend? Bakit hindi tumataas ang stock, ang market price ng stocks? Tama naman, Rob. Pero for me, no, I am a risk taker. No? Depende, Rob.
Thank you, sir.
What else? All right, so if none, thank you very much. And hopefully you learned about dividend policy. I will discuss next topic is all about capital structure. Okay? Any question?
None po.
None. So see you all and stay negative ha. Madami akong estudyante na nagpo-positive. Hopefully hindi kayo na. Okay? All right, sige. Bye-bye. See you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Ingat po.
Bye-bye.
Thank you
Okay.
po. Sir, ingat po.
Thank you. Ingat
Po,
din
sir,
kayo.
ingat po.
Okay.
Salamat, sir.
Thank you. Good night kaagad. Tulog ka na kaagad. Alright, sige. Russell.